Hey, how's everyone doing this evening? It's great to be at the Santa Cruz County Republican Committee meeting, and it's great to be at a church. It's great to be at an awesome church here today in Arizona. And let me quickly introduce myself to you. My name is Gary Barve. I am a youth supporter of our President Donald J. Trump, a proud Republican of the Republican Party that belongs to our President Donald J. Trump. And I'm officially running for President of the United States of America in the 2028 election to help President Trump make America great again, keep America great, and to help him save America. And I'm running because I love President Trump. I love our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And I love our great American people, and I want to help President Trump make America great again. That's why I'm running. And I said we're at an awesome church here today, and I just want to say this. I respect all religions, but I'm Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I believe the Bible is the Word of God. And I genuinely believe that Jesus Christ is with President Trump. Jesus Christ is with our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And Jesus Christ is with you, our great American people. And I'll say this, Jesus Christ is with me. And I said this a long time back. President Trump will win the election. I'm talking about the November 5th. 2024 election. I said President Trump will win the election and he will save America, and he has saved America, and he's continuing to make America great again, keep America great, and save America. And I believe someday I will save America as well. And I've made a campaign promise that I'm supporting President Donald J. Trump's America First agenda. That is on my campaign website 100% until November 7th, 2028. And then after that, if I get the great honor of being elected President of the United States of America in the 2028 election, I promise you today that I will always make decisions for our country, keeping you, our American people first, and our country, America first. And I just want to talk about a few America First agenda issues before I start politically decimating and politically attacking some opponents who I believe will run against me in the 2028 presidential election cycle. So, let's talk about the illegal immigration under the dumb as a rock Kamala and the crooked Joe Biden Democrat Party, the corrupt Democrat Party. Millions of illegal immigrants crossed across the southern border into our great United States of America illegally, bringing in crime and drugs such as fentanyl. I don't know if you have heard about this gang. There's this gang that's coming to our country. They call themselves TREN DE ARAGUA. TREN DE ARAGUA, they call themselves. And it's a Venezuelan gang. And when I heard about this gang the first time, I said, what a stupid name for a gang, right? Who names their gang TREN DE ARAGUA? It's a stupid name. But it's a vicious gang, and they literally took over a complete building in Colorado recently. There's another gang that's coming to our country, MS-13. These are bad people. These are bad, awful people. They literally cut people up just for fun. And so my direct message to any gang members that are listening to this speech, my direct message to MS-13, TREN DE ARAGUA, the SINAOLA cartel, is get the hell out of our great United States of America. If you don't, we will incarcerate members of your gangs, or we will kick out of our country members of your gangs. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm ready to take a bullet for all of you because I want to keep our American people safe and secure. And the other thing I want to say is I'm a big supporter of our police, sheriffs, ICE, military, veterans, firefighters, and first responders. Most people in these groups are great people who run towards danger to protect civilians and residents they do not even know. And I believe this is bravery and courage of the highest level. And so we must defend and not defund the people in these groups. And I will say this, if I get elected, the next and the 48th President of the United States of America, I will make sure that America becomes the safest country in the world, or one of the safest countries in the world. Law and order, in my opinion, is the very fabric that keeps our country the greatest country in the world, along with other things such as American exceptionalism, personality. I'll say it, our young American people, senior American people, the American people have tremendous personalities. And in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why we are the greatest country in the world. And there are many other reasons, such as entrepreneurial spirit and a lot of other reasons. But law enforcement, law and order is one of the reasons that keeps us the greatest country in the world. And let's talk about the American economy. I support low taxes, I support limited government, and I support the tariffs that President Donald J. Trump imposed. I think early April he called it Liberation Day. And I support these tariffs in a big way. I've learned a lot about these tariffs from President Donald J. Trump. I've met President Trump and I've learned a lot about tariffs from him. And they're a tremendous way to bring businesses back into our country, bring jobs back into our country for our American people. I think it's a great way, it's a weapon, I call tariffs a weapon to bring businesses and jobs and entrepreneurial spirit back into our country. And these are just the 3 America First agenda issues, right? There are a lot of other America First agenda issues that are very important. But in the best interest of time, I want to get to what I feel is, to me, the most exciting part about the speech. I'm going to start politically attacking and politically decimating a few opponents who I believe will run against me in the 2028 presidential election cycle. And I know this is a Republican event or a Republican meeting, and everyone here is a Republican, but I said, who the hell cares? I'm going to attack some opponents who I believe will run in the primary phase of the election in the 2028 presidential election cycle, and I'll keep it brief because I'm going to focus on some Democrat opponents as well. So a few people will run against me in the 2028 presidential election cycle, and I'm dominating the 2028 presidential election cycle as the only viable candidate running. Ron DeSanctimonious, he's the most disloyal person in America, and I'm not just saying he's the most disloyal elected official in America, he's the most disloyal person in America. Same with Nikki Birdbrain Haley. I call her Democrat running as a Republican, Birdbrain Haley. She's awful, very disloyal to President Trump. And Ted Cruz, he's a real beauty, Ted Cruz. He's a lying Ted, we call him, right? And there are a few other people who will run against me. Carrie Lake, we're in Arizona. I don't know, maybe Carrie Lake will run against me. Mike Pence might run against me. Opportunistic rhino, weak little Vivek. You know who that is, right? That's Vivek Ramaswamy, I call him. Opportunistic rhino, weak little Vivek. He'll probably run against me. A lot of people are going to run against me. Glenn Youngkin. And I call him, he's an inauthentic rhino. You know what rhino means, right? Republican in name only. Glenn Youngkin is a rhino. He's a fake plastic political guy who did not endorse President Trump for a long time during the primary phase of the 2024 election cycle. And I'm not going to take all the names. A lot of people, Chris Christie might run against me. Colossal rhino, Chris Christie. And these people, especially those who ran against President Trump in the 2024 primary phase of the election, are, in my opinion, rhinos. They're Republican in name only, because when you run against someone for a political office, you're most definitely looking to defeat that person, and potentially, if the opportunity presents itself, and if it's the right thing to do, you're looking to decimate that person politically. J.D. Vance, by the way, might run against me. I call him Doofus. Or I call him Docile Cheeks Diramer. And look, I support President Trump's decision to select him as the vice president. I have nothing against that. I love President Trump. And but let's get to some Democrat elected officials, right? That's something that I really want. I'm looking at. I was itching to do this today. So Gavin Newsom, is there anyone here who likes Gavin Newsom? I don't see any hands go up, right? Gavin Newsom is, in my opinion, the worst governor in America. He's the worst. He's a California governor. He's the worst governor in America. His California lands policies are completely destroying California. Businesses and people are leaving California in numbers, and he supports open borders. He supports sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities, it's like a safe haven for criminals, gangs, cartels, drug dealers, drug smugglers, and human traffickers. And he's a bad guy. Gavin Newsom's a bad guy. But, here's my biggest criticism when it comes to Gavin Newsom, all right? You ready? So, have you looked at Gavin Newsom's horrific hair and the amount of hair gel he seems to put on it? Can you imagine looking at that on TV for 4 years? I don't think so. And I sort of say this tongue-in-cheek, but Gavin Newsom's hair should, in my opinion, be an immediate disqualifier for Gavin Newsom to run for office or be president. And I sort of, again, say that tongue-in-cheek, but we're not going to allow Gavin Newsom to get anywhere near the White House, because America will never run on his California last policies. And the other thing I want to say about Newsom, Gavin Newsom, is when you look at him on TV the next time, I want you to carefully look at this, all right? Look at his face. I believe Gavin Newsom's face resembles an ostrich, the ostrich bird. I really do believe that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said it, right? He resembles an ostrich. And look, I have nothing against the ostrich. I believe the ostrich is a very fine bird. And I like the ostrich. Gavin Newsom is not a fine guy. I do not like Gavin Newsom. And we're going to politically decimate Gavin Newsom if he decides to run against me in the 2028 presidential election cycle. And, let's talk about someone else. Let's talk about Kamala, right? No one likes Kamala. I actually came up with a name for a podcast. I've been on a lot of podcasts, a lot of networks over the last few months. And I came up with a name, and I'm going to share it with you. I've never shared it with anyone publicly ever before. And I should actually get it copyrighted, to be very honest. But Here's the name. If anyone wants to start a podcast, consider it and interview me. Let me be the first one to interview with you, right? The name of the podcast should be Everyone Loves Trump and No One Loves Kamala. I think that'll be a great name for a podcast. But look, President Trump made a tremendous post on social media on his Truth Social account a few months back. He said Kamala Harris is dumb as a rock. And I do believe Kamala Harris is dumb as a rock. A friend of mine actually said to me a few months back, he said to me, Gary, Kamala is an empty suit, S-U-I-T, empty suit. That means she's an unremarkable person. And I do believe Kamala is an unremarkable person. I mean, you just look at her word salads, right? She says a few things that she somehow manages to string together. And at the end of the few sentences that she somehow manages to string together, there's hardly any sense that comes out of it. You contrast that with President Donald J. Trump's tremendous wisdom, advice, encouragement through his books, videos, and interviews, especially his book, Think Big, by President Trump. I believe the book Think Big by President Trump is the greatest book ever written after the Bible. And I've written a book as well, believe it or not. This is sort of like a plug, and I said, should I say it, should I not say it? I'm gonna say it, all right? I wrote a book. I never in my dreams thought I'd write a book. I wrote a book. It's titled One Nation Under God, and it's got me wearing the Trump hat on the front cover page. And I've tried to replicate this look from President Trump. He has this look. He calls it, I think, the tough as nails look. And I've replicated that during the photo session. I think it's a great book. It's on Amazon, iBooks, and Barnes & Noble platforms, ebook and paperback. This is a quick plug, but I said I'm going to do it, right? I think it's a great book, and the reason I'm sharing it with you is because I genuinely believe it will help you understand the Trump Republican Party that I've been a big part of for the half a decade now. And I've talked about President Trump, I've talked about our great country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America, as well as my campaign for president. And, but Kamala is an incompetent person. Kamala is an incompetent person, certainly back to where I was at prior to the, talking about the book. And, there's another person it's been in the news recently. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? She is a far-left socialist Democrat. And she, in my opinion, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the stupidest person on the planet, or one of the stupidest people on the planet, because a lot of other Democrat elected officials compete with that title, right? And so, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she will destroy our country if she gets anywhere near the White House. She's a far-left socialist Democrat. And, she has, I was thinking about it, right? I said, she has a really annoying voice. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, annoying was the word that came to my mind. Very annoying voice. But, I think this is her worst attribute, along with her America Last policy. She's the America Last candidate. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the America Last candidate. But, she has, if you look at her on TV, and not a lot of channels put her up on TV anyways, but if you look at her on TV, if you look at her eyebrows, she has the worst looking eyebrows of anyone I've ever looked at in the world. And, I'm not just politically attacking her on her attributes or the lack of her attributes for any other reason other than mainly because she's the America Last candidate, and I do not want her to get anywhere near the White House because she will destroy our country, and I love our country. And Bernie Sanders probably wants to run. I understand he wants to jump on the ticket with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Bernie Sanders is a socialist as well. And there's this guy named, have you heard of this guy? J.B. Pritzker. And I sort of said, who the hell is this guy, J.B. Pritzker? I saw him in the news. I said, who the hell is J.B. Pritzker? I looked at him on the news report, and he's from Illinois. And, he's a circular kind of a guy. Let's put it that way. He's a circular kind of a guy. And I said, I would love to see Bernie Sanders and J.B. Pritzker run. I would love to see them run. I'm talking about running for president. But that would be quite a sight, right? Them running for president. And, so these Democrat elected officials, I don't know who else is going to run against me. We're going to politically decimate them as the biggest, most loyal supporters of President Donald J. Trump in America. And I know I have just a few more minutes. I'm going to leave like 2 or 3 minutes for questions. I just want to say this. I've done a lot of media interviews with Newsmax, Fox News. Those two have not gone live yet on the broadcast perspective. I've interviewed with RSPN. I've interviewed Right Side Broadcasting Network, Epoch Times. Those have gone live, those have been broadcast, and a lot of regional shows such as Joe Thomas's WTON radio, and a lot of shows, Good Morning Keys radio show, Jeff and Bill's show, and a lot of shows. And the campaign is gathering a lot of momentum. I visited the southern border with my friend Dan here, and Jerry here as well, and Colleen as well, and we visited the southern border. And it's been a tremendous campaign, and like I said, I've met President Trump as well. And I know we have like 3-4 more minutes, 5 minutes. But I don't want to leave time for questions, right? But I do want to talk about our great American flag. That's no compromise on that. We're going to talk about our great American flag. So, look, I made a policy, and it's a campaign promise. Look, recently Jimmy Carter died, right? And you saw that our great American flag was flying half-staff or half-mast. They call it half-staff or half-mast. And there's a great speech by President Trump. In the speech, he says, "Have you challenged accepted wisdom?" And I said, I'm going to challenge accepted wisdom because I want to see our great American flag fly high and proud, 24/7, 365, full staff, full mast. And I believe in showing respect to certain situations and events as a country, but I want to see our great American flag fly high and proud. And so the campaign promise is this: if I get elected the next and the 48th President of the United States of America, the American flag will always and forever fly high and proud, 24/7, 365. We will never fly half-staff or half-mast, and we will find an alternate way to show respect to certain situations and events. You have to love the country, you have to love the flag, otherwise you have lost me. And I'll end it with this. And I'll open it up for questions. Open book, ask me whatever you want. I'll end it with this. We are one nation under God, and in God we trust. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America, the greatest country on earth. Thank you, and let's win this. My name is Gary Barve. I'm running for President of the United States of America 2028 election as the biggest, most loyal supporter of the man, the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Thank you very much, and I'll take any questions that you want. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Jerry. Yes, sir. By the way, thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Gary, we've heard a lot about everybody else. We didn't hear about you. Who are you? Well, I want to know your background.
Okay.
I want to know...
Jerry, you and I had a nice long coffee a few days back. I think we talked about it. Well, I'll answer your question right now. Yes, sir.
Everybody here wants to hear that.
Yes, sir.
Not just me, but we want to know about your background. We want to know what you've done in the party,
yes.
Those kind of things.
Great question. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And again, thank you for your service to our country as a great American law enforcement officer. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so I ran for city council in the 2020 election as a Republican supporter of President Trump. I wore a red Make Santa Clara Great hat during that campaign, and we had a tremendous result. To my memory, Jerry, there were only about 17% Republicans in the district that I was running in. And we got 23% of the vote. Our campaign was a phenomenal success, considering that there was never a practical chance of winning that election. We had a tremendous result. I wore a red Make Santa Clara Great hat during that campaign. We got a lot of press coverage. And then I relocated to Lynchburg, Virginia, and became a student at Liberty University. Liberty University, as you know, is one of the largest Christian schools in the country. And I got baptized at Thomas Road Baptist Church at Liberty University. And then I relocated to Florida. I ran for US Congress in Florida as a Republican supporter of President Trump in the 23rd district in Florida, which is a little bit south of Mar-a-Lago. I've been to Mar-a-Lago a few times. I've met President Trump, and we had a good result in the US Congress election. We hardly donated or contributed any money into the campaign, but we had a good result. But I mentioned, Jerry, this book, Think Big, by President Trump. And I said it's the greatest book ever written after the Bible. And it is the greatest book ever written after the Bible. It's had a tremendous positive impact on me. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running for president. His inspirational book, Think Big. And in the book, he talks about a lot of things. He talks about think big. He says, never, ever, ever, ever give up. If there's one message I'll leave you with today, never give up. He says, go against the tide, which means go against the convention, go against the current. And he says, love the country, serve the country, and dream big and bold. And I said to a lot of people, I want to run for president. I love the country. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running for president. And I'll say this. The other reason I'm running for president, along with the reasons I mentioned earlier, I love President Trump. I love our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And I love our great American people. And I want to make America great again, keep America great, and save America. But there's another reason, and I'll say it right now.
Sorry.
America runs through my blood, body, mind, and soul. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yes, sir, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Make America great again, keep America great, and save America. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Thank you.